To say it's been an exhausting 72. How many? I only know up to 72 hours. What comes after that? 84 hours? Tim hasn't slept since Thursday, basically. It was a crazy weekend in Vegas. And usually when you go to Vegas, that's what happens. You don't sleep. But Tim was actually working. And the time of day, the way the race is, it does not lend itself to a good night of sleep, especially when two championship leading cars are disqualified after the race 3 hours after it ends, and the race started at Eastern Standard Time, which Tim lives in, at 1 a.m. Now, I want to say this. I just want to say this to start the show, Tim, before we get into it. Max Verstappen would win his 5th straight Drivers' Championship if he wins both races remaining and the sprint. Lando finishes P2 in the sprint, P2 in another race, but has one race where he is P6 or lower. So that's not unobtainable. The other equation is if Norris outscores Piastri and Verstappen by +2 points in Qatar, he would become champion. Now, I don't know that that's very likely either, considering how Max Verstappen has been racing. And I think this is going to come down to, we might have an Abu Dhabi finish again, man. A British driver versus Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi. The nightmare is alive and well. Tim,
you brought up a lot of memories.
I know. It's crazy. Now, I want to say, man, there's so much to talk about from this race, but let's talk about the McLaren double DNF, and let's talk about what it was like on the ground, because obviously, we've been told, it's 0.1 millimeters or 0.18 or whatever you want to talk about. But what was it for you? Race finishes, social media posts go up. They finish 2 and 4. Lando loses it on the first corner. Everything seems all right in McLaren land, but you found out on the ground that things were not looking so rosy.
Yeah, as soon as I saw, I think it was Nicholas Tombassis go into the McLaren garage. We had been on live on SportsCenter as soon as the race ended. So I basically got to speak with all the drivers and then the podium finishers as well. And it was interesting. If I take you through this chronologically, I'm going to be talking for a bit here, but I'll start with like where my thoughts were, and then where basically I found out, and then we can go from there. So race begins. It's going. I'm in the there's 2 media centers. There's a media center that is located off of the track, which was in the Tuscany Hotel. So it's like it's quite a walk, and I didn't want to be in that far away from the media pen in case something had happened at the start and I had to run to the media pen to do the interview. The two of them were just too far away from each other. So I watched in a separate media center that the organizers had built within the paddock. It was actually very handy. So I watched it in there with a couple other journalists. And so during the race, and I found this part for me stuck out the most, and I've written it in my notepad because I write notes throughout the race. Max was told over the radio that Lando was lifting in turns 5, 11, and 7. Mm-hmm. And so those are heavy braking zones, but some of them are also like slow to medium to high speed corners, and one of them being very high speed. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Like, why would you need to lift in those turns? Like, why would you need to go slow there? Like, I get trying to save the tire, but when you're listening to Lando's radio and his race engineer tells him to go and get Max, and then a few laps later you have a separate, GP's telling Max, hey, Lando's lifting here. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, why would he want to lift there? Is he saving fuel? Like, and then I remembered that on the Friday during free practice 3, me, the producer from TSN, and our camera op, we went trackside. Mm-hmm. And I was at the very last corner there, Adam, where we did our track preview. And I talked about that last corner, and it was high speed, and it was like sort of downhill a bit. And car had to be careful with bottoming out. And so I went to the last corner, and we were watching, and I was saying to like our producer there, and I'm like, man, the McLarens seem to be running really low. Like they were sparking more than everybody else was.
Yep.
I could see that the car was grinding more when it was coming through there. It's just something for me that I could see that they were just running lower. The car was way more aggressive. And I figured, well, that must be why they've been so competitive in Vegas. And I was like, there's no way they can leave the car there. Like that's what I felt. I was just like, I just thought that there was no way they can make it through a race grinding away that much. And then when we got to qualifying and how competitive Lando and Oscar were there, just simply because of how competitive they were there last year, even though they did make some advances with the car, it didn't feel that it was going to be enough for Lando to grab a pole position, especially not in the wet, in those conditions that we were in. Mm-hmm. And I thought that, like, okay, well, whatever they did, they must be very confident that they can make it work. Yeah. And I thought, game on. Like, this is going to be a battle between Max and Lando in this race, and it's going to be great and whatever. And so then later on in the race, when we got those messages, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder. And then I saw Lando slowing even more during the end of the race. And I was in the media pen at this time. I'd made my way down there. And I was like, wow, he's like, whatever it was, 17 seconds back, I think it was, or something like that at one point. And I'm like, wow, he's way back now. I'm like, this is really, like, he's really come off the gas a lot. Like, he's really lifted a lot. And it didn't seem like he was lifting and coasting down the Vegas Strip. And I thought, well, if he's not lifting and coasting down the Vegas Strip, then it can't be for fuel. Because I would that would be your biggest lift and coast, would be down the Vegas Strip if you're trying to save some fuel, even though they probably were trying to save a bit. But at the same time, the faster you sort of go in through these corners, the more the car is going to push down towards the ground, and the more that skid plank is going to get worn down. And so when Max came into the media pen after he had won, I said, like, hey, I put the question to him to see what I would get from him first. And I said, hey, like, when you were told over the radio that Lando was going slow in 5:11 and 7:17, I'm like, what were you thinking? Because you went on and set the fastest lap of the race, like, immediately following that. I'm like, do you think he was saving tires? Like, what was it? And he's like, yeah, it probably was the tires and that. And he didn't really kind of give me what I was kind of looking for, like what he thought might be the case. Like, either it was for the plank, or if it was for fuel, or whatever it was, just to see what he thought it could be. And then so I started asking him about the tires and, like, graining, like how bad was the graining? Because then I thought, okay, well, maybe it was because of the tires, and let me hear what he says about tires and graining. And then Max started talking about how bad the graining was. And that was a key factor for a lot of the drivers, where the tires were graining and then they were pushing through the graining phase, and then the tire was kind of coming back to them. And then I thought, okay, well, that must have been what was happening with Lando. Was through those turns, maybe that's what they were trying to do, is get him through a graining phase before he could go quicker again. And so when Lando came to us, I was just basically like, hey, did you feel that the car had some race-winning pace in it today? Because I said to him, it did look like a good battle back from, like, what was a difficult start. And so he did comment on how he flubbed the start and how he was frustrated with himself, but he also did comment on the fact that, like, the car didn't have the race-winning pace either. But he also didn't feel like he was at the sharpest end of everything at the same time. And so I didn't really kind of get what I was looking for with, why was he lifting? Why was he having to go slow? Where was the performance loss and all that kind of stuff? He kind of danced around it a bit. And so I thought, okay, well, doesn't really seem to be too much here. So I'll go and we'll do the thing with SportsCenter. We'll do our live hit, get it into SportsCenter. And then afterwards, go and do the team principal press conferences. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we were done with our SportsCenter hit, I got a text from McLaren, and it was saying that Stella's media availability was going to be delayed.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's strange. I'm like, because usually, like, Andre is, like, always on it. Like, if he says whatever 10:45. It's 10:45. Yeah. It's not going to be 10:45.01. It's not going to be 10:46. It's going to be 10:45, and Andrea will be there at 10. Like, they run a tight ship over there, and it's really appreciative for me. Like, I appreciate that. And so when they canceled that, I was like, well, that's really strange. And then I saw Nicholas Tombassis go into the garage, and I was like, well, that's also strange. I was like, I think there's something going on here. And we went up to McLaren Hospitality, and then all the journalists were up there. And I was like, hey, guys, like, what's going on? Like, we don't know if something's going on. And I was like, okay. So that's where it started. Well, I'll leave it there, and then we can get into the details after. But that's sort of how things, I kind of find out that at the moment that something was going on. We just weren't exactly sure what it was. I had a feeling it was the plank, because I didn't feel it was fuel. There was just no way, just because of all the things I'd stated before. So that's where my thoughts were at the time. I didn't say anything to anybody when I was standing there, but that's what I was thinking. Okay. All right. So that's where we'll stand it right there, Adam, and then we can dive into the other details of it after that. I can take you through like the aftermath and all. Well,
I think you should, because obviously, I mean, if full disclosure, we were going to record on Sunday,
yes.
But Tim, I had texted Tim a couple times and he didn't respond, and I thought, okay, and obviously having known what happened, I'm like, Tim must be exhausted. He must be like asleep. So when did you find out? How did the news hit you? And what was the response on the track?
All right. So as I found out before the FIA had published their document, and I didn't want to like go and start tweeting stuff or any of that, because I've learned from a lot of the journalists there that it's not a good idea to do that, because sometimes the FIA will like, it'll be a totally different thing. It could have been for fuel. It may not have been for and blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, wait till the FIA releases something.
Yep.
And so lately what's been happening with my phone, or my email, I should say, is that I've been having lagging issues when it comes to the documents that I'm getting from the FIA. So I will get the documents immediately, and then sometimes there's a lag and I don't get them for 4 hours later for some reason. And I don't know what it is, something to do with the server or something. But for some reason, I have a massive lag with documents coming through in my email account. And so I was talking with another journalist, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's the planks." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's the plank?" I'm like, and I'm checking my phone, I'm going through my email, and I'm like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Why isn't this coming?" I'm like, "Did you get a document from the FIA?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Was it skid wear on both cars?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Can you screen cap that and just like airdrop it to me, because like the stuff's not coming into my email." And so like he passes it on. I'm like, sure enough, I read through the document, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So they got referred to the stewards from Joe Bauer.
Yep.
And so as soon as that happens, immediately you're just like, oh yeah, it's game over. If it's under 9 millimeters, which it had said in the referral, then that's it. It's over. You're just waiting for the final documentation to see the actual numbers, and how much it was measured by, what was the device they used to measure it, and then you can go ahead and publish like both of them being disqualified. So as I'm standing there, I'd gotten that document, and Lando had walked past me. So he was leaving. And so as he was leaving, I was like, because he walked right by me, and I'm like, oh, I'm just getting this stuff now, and he's leaving. He must know it's a slam dunk too. And then about 45 minutes later, I'm still waiting at McLaren Hospitality to hear from Stella, and Oscar and Mark Webber walk out, and they say goodbye to us and everything. And Oscar's like, he didn't seem too upset, but I'm like, well, that's really weird, because like if you're going to be disqualified from a race, you think you'd be pretty upset about that. So then I was thinking like, well, maybe he's okay, right? Because like it's not really dead certain as to, was it, both cars were admitted, but is he going to get away with this? And what's going on? Because at that moment, there's so many things running through my head. So I took a picture of him and I posted it online, and then the picture went all over the place. And I was like, okay, so he doesn't seem too upset about it. Weber didn't seem too upset either when they were leaving. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens here. And so waiting. At least 90 minutes has gone past since we had gotten this referral document. And then we were told that Andre Stella wouldn't be speaking tonight. And I was like, well, I'm like, it's like, it's 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think he actually had to catch a flight. He was trying to he had a flight book because they have to like get up and go to Qatar next, right?
Of course.
So they gotta get out of there. And so that was understandable. And they were going to send us like a statement when everything was released from the FIA because they have to wait for that. And so I was like, okay. So I went back to the media center, the one that was all the way over at the Tuscany. And so I walked all the way back there and sitting around chatting, waiting. Finally, the documentation comes through. And so I'm going through it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, such fine margins, Adam, when it comes to this document. And I posted it on my Twitter and all my social medias, and people can go through it. But there's two documents that came through, and the first one was for Lando and the thickness of the plank on his car. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. So for those who don't know, so the plank, obviously, they're like these. The plank is underneath the car, and essentially, if it's worn away more than 9 millimeters of thickness, that's sort of like your point of no return. If you're like 8.99 millimeters, that's it, disqualified. Like there's no that's sort of okay.
And there's
the
no
FIA,
argument,
yeah,
right?
exactly,
it's black and white,
exactly, because the FIA is kind of like giving you a bit of grace there, where it's like, okay, we can go to here, but this is it. If you guys go past this, that's it, you're done, kind of deal. And so for Lando's, and this is relevant, the numbers. But for Lando's, the right-hand side front was 8.88 millimeters, and his right-hand side rear, so at the back of the car, on the right-hand side, was 8.93 millimeters. Okay, so they used a measuring device
called a laser, right?
Well, no, I think you can buy this on Amazon, to be honest with you. I didn't look into it. Like, everyone who's listening, you can go and look into it, but it's a Toyo micrometer that was purchased in May of 2025.
Okay.
And according to the manufacturer's specifications, it's accurate to within 0.001 millimeter. So, the rear skids on I'll take you through Lando's here. The rear skids were remeasured. So for both cars, and we'll get into Oscars in a second because both of these two things are connected, but they're different in similar instances. So for Lando's car, I'll just start. Okay, both cars were measured at the same time. They were measured with FIA personnel in attendance, but also there were 3 other McLaren individuals who were also there as well, watching the remeasurements being taken. So they had remeasured. And I believe they had done it 3 times, I believe.
Yep.
Don't quote me on that one. But everyone was in attendance who needed to be in attendance so they could make sure that it was being done accurately and correctly. And every single time it was coming back with the numbers. So McLaren, they were arguing some mitigating circumstances that did exist, that were unexpected porpoising issues that they were having due to the fact that didn't get a lot of running in free practice 2 because of the red flags that came out. Mm-hmm. And usually when you're doing your longer runs, you get a better idea of how much plank wear you get. And since they weren't getting those longer runs because of the red flags that were coming out, they couldn't really measure the ride height that they wanted to use for the entire weekend. So when in free practice 3 came around and it started to rain, you are running the car a little bit differently, right? To give a little bit more downforce to the car. So when I was watching, that's when they were trying to figure out where is this car relative to the ground and how long can we run it like this and are we going to be safe? And I think they just didn't know. Like they just did not know because they never had the proper running to dial that in.
Right.
So for Lando being told in the race to lift in this section, Some of it, yes, maybe because of fuel, but some of it also is because of the skids. They weren't exactly sure how safe they were going to be with the skids. And now the skids, you can't just use like what's it called? You can They don't have anything electronically that they can measure whether or not they're going to be safe with skid wear. Right? There's no sensor for it, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So they're kind of like guessing as to where they kind of could be, should be, etc. And if they feel that like, okay, hey, maybe we might not be that safe with this here, like let's start lifting and coasting a bit just to be safe. For Piastri, it was a little bit different. So the document that I referenced earlier, I got the same document from the FIA with the same measurements. And I was like, okay, so I guess both cars were low on the exact same spots. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. All right, well, I'll go and I'll do my report. And then I guess I'm done. I can go to bed. Because at this time, it's like 2 a.m. And so I went and I did the report. And I came back and I'd received another document, but this time in my email, where I was getting so much lag. And all of a sudden I get this new document that came through, and I'm like, wait a second, is this the old one? And then they're just, and I'm like, wait, this is new. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell's going on? And it's not the FIA's. The FIA had made a mistake with one of the documents they put out with Piastri's form, and they'd recalled it and they put out a separate one. And I was just getting the separate one. I didn't get the one. So
this is wild, man. I can't believe so this. Like, this is crazy.
I know. So I sat down with one of the other journalists. I'm like, okay. I'm like, let me see if I got this right, because I got to put this thing to air. And I just recorded something and I was sending it in, and I didn't want to send in something that was going to be a little bit dated. So I just, would be also be some mistakes in there too. Yeah. But I said to him, I'm like, look, just for clarification, 2 separate documents for both Lando and Oscar, both of them different measurements, correct? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, perfect. So the document that I had received because of the lag in my email, the different one, the newer one, was actually the right one. So I was like, okay, let me go through this one and go and retape. Now I'm going to take you through that document because it is different from what Lando's is.
Okay.
Okay, so for the relevant measurements for Piastri, the left-hand side. Now remember, for Lando, it was the right-hand side. It was the right-hand side for both of them. But for Piastri, it's different. So left-hand side front, 8.96 millimeters. The right-hand side front, 8.74 millimeters. And the right-hand side rear, 8.90 millimeters. Using the same measuring device, purchased on the same date, same individuals involved in watching the remeasurements. And I was thinking, this was Oscar being told to lift in the same parts? Was he being told to do the exact same thing as what Lando was being told to do?
Yeah.
And I didn't have access to any onboard cameras from the time of me going to air with the report. So I had to just go through the air, go to air with the report that I had, and just state the fact that I hadn't heard anything over the team radio for Oscar Piastri, because I hadn't, and it wasn't broadcasted on the global feed. So I didn't know. So essentially that's what I said. So then I kind of went back and I started looking over at things. And yes, Oscar had been told for some portions to like do a lift and coast sort of deal. Yeah. And so I think he was getting the same communications as Lando, just a little bit differently. Now, we couldn't confirm any of this because we couldn't talk to Andrea Stella.
Right.
So there's
annoying.
Yes. So there's a lot of questions there that still need to be answered, obviously. And it's understandable why some of the things did get canceled. It would be great if we could do like a Zoom call with him on like Monday or Tuesday or something, just to get some questions across so we can clear up some of the underlying issues from all of it. But essentially, at the end of the day, it's just McLaren made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like they just made a big mistake, and for both the drivers, I mean, it's not their fault. Like they're doing,
and the thing is, Tim, like we haven't even talked about the race, but they raced well.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Both
I think
raced well, solid races.
I think I would say for Lando's part, qualifying on the Friday was really impressive. That was a great lap from him. That was a championship. That was a championship qualifying lap where it's like for Lando, I'm going to put this thing away this weekend, and that's what I'm going to do. So part of me was like, it's a shame that this had to happen to him because he did have a really strong weekend. He did flub his start. He did accept responsibility for it too. But at the same time, Max was just on another planet. Like once Max takes the lead of a race, he seldomly does he ever give it up or give it away or make mistakes. And for Oscar, having the contact with Liam Lawson, putting him back a little bit, it's not really Oscar's fault. I felt that at the end of it, talking to him, he does seem a little frustrated. There is no doubt about that. I would also say, though, that I think he still has optimism that there's a chance, there's a window here, there's a path forward for him to win this thing now. Right. Maybe not at the end when I was talking to him. I think that was the sign of like, he was just like, yeah, okay, this could be over for me now. Mm-hmm. I think the Lando just kind of put it away at the end of the race. But I think now its mindset's probably changed. I think he's probably thinking now like, oh, I still got a chance, still in it, still in this thing. But I agree with you, Adam. I thought both of them actually had a pretty decent weekend, all things considered.
And Max, I mean, Tim, that's unbelievable, that recanting that story. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how the night went, buddy. I didn't get back to the hotel until 4 a.m.
Wow.
And then I was on a flight out of there. I don't know, whatever time I texted you, it would have been 9. I got back to the hotel. I had to pack a couple things. I was in bed by probably 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. Slept for 3 hours, got up, went to the airport, got back to Toronto. Didn't sleep on the plane because I can't really. Yep. Got back to Toronto at 9 p.m. ish. I got in the front door at 9 p.m. Chatted with my girlfriend for a bit and
and then went to bed.
See you later. But then this morning I woke up to just I like I had said before we started recording, and we'll get into that in a bit. But oh my god,
just flooded. Well, let me just say this to complete the thing, and I it's almost a disservice to Max, but I think there will be a lot said about Max's race, and there should be. He went from being 12 points between him and Piastri and 40 points to Lando. Now he's equal with Piastri and 24 points behind Lando. It's important to remember that when August ended and he was at the Zandvoort Grand Prix, he was 104 points off the lead.
Wild.
It's unbelievable how this fall has turned out. I don't think Zach Brown slept very well, and I don't think he will sleep very well until this is sewed up for him. But there's more to talk about, and we got to get...
but I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you woke up Sunday morning...
Yes.
Because I sent my tweet to you at like whatever it was, like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Would have been 5 a.m. your time. I sent that to you, and I was like, I am very interested to see how Adam reacts to this.
It's what, I'm almost calm about it because like I'm usually a fan of teams that colossally F up things that they should win. So it's not like I haven't seen this movie before. If Lando doesn't win, if McLaren doesn't win this drivers' championship, it will be historically one of the greatest championship comebacks we've ever seen. We know that. Yeah. And I'm prepared to eat that embarrassment. I'm prepared to live with it forever because you know what? I'm a fan of a lot of teams that screw things up. So I can live with it. Live with it.
I guess like my thing is that they won the constructors. So technically, Adam, like you've won a championship, right? Like,
yes. Which makes it a little easier.
Yeah. And last year as well, too, right? Like the team as a whole quite handedly took care of business. It's the driving part on the other it's going away from them a bit. It's coming back, and there's ebbs and flows, and Max is now like really on it. And so it's it's funny because we got a text, and it's kind of like, did Max, or would this be like a choke? Did they choke kind of thing, right?
I don't think they did. I don't think they did here.
I agree with you. I don't. Yeah, definitely didn't choke in Vegas. I would say like Lando obviously had his issues at the beginning of the season, had some things to work through, worked hard, really hard to change a lot of stuff around, did it, and has come on strong at the right moment to close this thing out. Where Oscar, on the other hand, started off like super strong, had control, kept control, and then just really started to dwindle away. Some of it his fault, some of it the team, some of it both together at the same time.
Yep.
And that allowed both of these other guys to come into it. But Max is the one who has thrown a huge wrench into their plans. Like a grenade. He just
because he's Max.
Because he's Max. Pulled the pin on it at him. I would say Red Bull Racing too, because they've done a great job of really digging into learning from the car and not giving up on it. And giving Max what he needed to just go and get the job done at certain tracks. Yeah. And so I don't see that as a choke. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't either. I see this
as three really great competitors like going to war.
Yep.
That's what I look at it as.
I 100% agree with you. 100% agree. And I think, listen, that might be a little cope on my end too, because I know how it's going to be spun. The way it's going to be spun is McLaren screwed this up. But at the end of the day, like they put in good drives. Max Verstappen, we know there's no Verstappen him. He is a generational, unbelievable talent, and it's crazy. Now we have to get to other things, Tim, because we will run out of time. I want to make sure we get to them.
Yeah. Go.
To contrast that, I brought up Abu Dhabi 2021 earlier in the episode. Lewis Hamilton qualified last for Ferrari after hitting a pylon in Q1. Then after the race, he said that he hated this year and that he was not, and I'm paraphrasing, and that he is not looking forward to next year. Now, Fred Vasseur said, I can understand the reaction from Lewis after the race, but we just have to calm down and discuss and be focused on the next two races, because the next two, we will be back. Keep in mind, he said also that Lewis was there in FP1 and FP2. The pace was good, and we have to build up a weekend like this. And for sure to start from P20, actually it was P19, thanks, because of Yuki Tsunoda's pit lane start. It's not the best way to have good results. Now, he finished the race in 10th, and then he was upgraded 2 more spots. He was mad about Ferrari's tire choices, obviously, because they should have just gone with the hard tire and stuck with it in retrospect, and he was mad that Mercedes finished ahead of him. But when you make comments like that as Lewis Hamilton, he can make bombastic comments. That's why I don't think the world is freaking out today. But given John Elkann's comments and then Charles and Lewis's response to those, is this just a guy who's sort of burnt out after a tough season? Or is there more that we should be reading into, I'm not looking forward to 2026?
It's too... I think it's just a lot of frustration. And he has every right as a driver to be frustrated. Look, I spoke with Lewis at the end of this one. And first he talked to Lawrence Barretto. So Lawrence and I were doing the 1-2 sort of thing in the media pen. Because they like to pair us together. I don't know why they do. I enjoy it. I love working with Lawrence because he asks the really great questions that I can follow up on. And he had asked him, about this weekend and like how he was feeling and et cetera, kind of getting him to a point to which like he could get some positivity from something, right? And Lewis didn't have anything good to say, and so I followed up with like, I mean, look, like I know you're saying it's not a great weekend, and I understand the frustrations, but I'm like, is there any positives you can take away from the weekend? Like, is there anything you can pull away that's positive? And he's like, nope.
Yeah.
He's like, there's nothing. I was like,
but this isn't
wow.
a guy that's like leaving Ferrari, is he?
No, it doesn't. No, I don't know why you would. No, there's no way you would leave. Not right now. I mean, he doesn't even know what next year's going to be like. Nobody knows. I mean, we all have our sneaking suspicions that yes, Mercedes is going to be strong, but are they going to be strong on the power unit front? Most likely, but are they going to be strong on the technical side with the car? I mean, they haven't been in this regulation. Well, then what's to say that they're going to be in the next regulation? So if they're not going to be strong in the next regulation on the car, but they're going to be strong in the power unit, I mean, that's great, but those two things need to come together for you to have something that's going to be dominant and crush everybody and all that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah,
when you look at Ferrari, I mean, maybe they're struggling on the power unit side, but are they struggling on the car design side? Like, is that part of everything struggling? And so even though that, like, those two things do need to marry together, yes, but if you have a power unit that's like 85% good, but you have a car that's like 100% awesome, then the driver can make up the difference in some things. But when you go to big power tracks, yes, you're going to have some issues. But when you come to tracks, I don't know, like Brazil, like Imola, like Zandvoort, can the car make the difference over the power unit? Mm-hmm. Possibly can, right? So it's going to be something like that next season. And so you can't write it off. Not just yet, anyways. You don't know enough. Haven't gotten the car out onto the track. Won't get it out onto the track till January. So I think what Fred Vasseur has said, I agree with, because I will agree with him that actually Lewis has had some good free practice 1, free practice 2s, free practice 3s in the last little while here. Mm-hmm. And it's like something's happening when you're
when
taking
it gets to the race.
Yeah, well, not only that, Adam, but when you're taking the car and you're taking it to qualifying, so you're in Parc Fermé, like something's going on in that sort of. This is the direction we're taking with the car. We're going to have it like this for qualifying. It's going to be like this for the race, and then you're seeing a different story when you're done qualifying and then you're into the race. So there's a setup issue that's happening somewhere that just doesn't seem like they can figure it out. And that's just from me, like, outside observer. It's not me having any inside information on that front. That's just my experience within being a driver and also working with engineers and working with a car and how things can change over a race weekend. So I think, Adam, like, I understand his frustrations, but I think he just needs to, like, dial it back a tiny bit and let's see what happens, right? Because like I think for Lewis has every right to be frustrated. He's a 7-time Formula One world champion, winningest driver in the sport. He's a legend, right? So it's understandable. But you're on a new team that has a way different way of working than what he's used to. Like, has to get used to that. Has to find that way through to get what he needs. I think he's going to get there. Fred obviously wants him and needs him to succeed. So just got to give it time, right? It's all it is. I mean, if this is next season, if we're halfway through next season, Adam, and he's saying stuff like that,
yeah,
then I will be like, yep, okay, sound the alarms.
Okay. All right. Well, it's worth mentioning. Now, the other big story
is worth mentioning for sure. You got to talk about it. 100%.
Yeah. And listen, the other big story from this weekend, and this is the one I think we're speculating the most on during this episode, and what F1 pundits are going to be talking about all day today, is the story of Christian Horner. Now, he's been involved in talks with Haas and talks with potentially buying Alpine. You know how rumors are in this sport. He was given between 70 and 100 million pounds to leave Red Bull. And the word this weekend is that Andy Cowell, who's the CEO, who's been there a year, is apparently going to be replaced. And apparently the reason why is the relationship between Cowell and Adrian Newey isn't good. It's believed that they've fallen out. And I'm not sure when somebody says fallen out to me means like you don't talk anymore. Like you can't be in the same room. I don't know if it's quite at that level, Tim. I don't know if it's like, if that's even true. But apparently there have been disagreements that could lead to him leaving and Horner coming in. And ESPN is even reporting that the relationship between Christian Horner and Adrian Newey, which was evidently very frayed towards their time at the end of Red Bull together, during the, Christian Horner scandal, it will not be a factor, will not be an issue. And it feels like a little bit like we're greasing the runway here for a Christian Horner landing at Aston Martin. Aston Martin always has crazy rumors surrounding them. Oh, are they going to get Max Verstappen? Are they going to get, who are they going to get? Who are they going to get? They clearly are not afraid to spend. What have you heard?
So the BBC published that report in and amongst the skidware situation that was happening down at McLaren at like whatever it was, midnight, something like that. And I found it interesting, and I think there are a couple things in there that are, pretty bang on. Some of them maybe not so much, but again, you got to go with what you got, and that's what BBC had, so they had to run with it. So it's totally understandable. Andy and Adrian Newey didn't have like a clash or like a falling out. I mean, there are things that they have disagreed upon for sure. I just don't think they work well together.
Okay, so that's true.
Doesn't mean that there's a clash, right?
Doesn't
mean there's a falling out or anything. I don't think Andy's going to be like removed from the team, not unless he wants to leave. But, I could see, well, I'll start with this. Like, essentially, Andy wasn't really brought in to be team principal, right? Like, he was brought in to be like the CEO and sort of structure the team, give it like a working structure so Honda could come in and work well with everybody, right? Like to partner those two things together, because that is something what he had done when he was at Mercedes and when he worked with HPP and tried to bring the racing team and the engine manufacturing division together to create like that dominant team and car and engine combination that we saw from like 2014 all the way to 2021. So like that's essentially part of Andy's doing. And so like he was a very coveted man in the paddock. A lot of people, when he came off gardening leave, really, really, really wanted to hire him. A lot of the teams did at him. They worked really hard to get this guy.
Yeah.
And
so he's valuable.
Yeah. And so did Lawrence, right? Like, I mean, Lawrence put a lot of work into to getting Andy to come over to be a part of this team. So I couldn't imagine him wanting Andy to just walk away from the team. Like, I couldn't imagine that. I mean, it's F1. Anything is possible at this moment, but I couldn't see that only because, like, he's a very good talent that I don't think you really want to waste. So I think you would remove Andy from that CEO team principal position.
Okay.
And basically just make him a part of that whole AMR Honda development and lead that structure. That's what I think anyways.
Right.
The bigger thing is who is going to come in and play that team principal role. Like Mike Crack really didn't want to do that role, right? Like he liked the technical aspect of it. He's really good at that. And I just don't think he really liked the front facing camera, talking to reporters, all that kind of stuff either. I think he really just wanted to do what he does best, right? Which is that technical side. And so having Andy sort of parachute in to kind of do both of those jobs, right? CEO and team principal, it's a lot. So I think, Adam, it would, if Christian Horner were to come into Aston Martin, which is possible, I I think he would have to take on some sort of a team principal role. Now, is that something he would want to do?
Well, I mean, I don't think Christian Horner is in the position in his career where he wants to work under anybody else. So that's the part for me that
he would have to work under, like, Lawrence runs, like, he is the key shareholder. Like,
yes.
It's
I don't
Christian
mean Lawrence. I just
be
mean under
team,
Andy.
right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Adrian and Christian, like, they had a falling out, right? Like, they can't. Are they going to be able to work together? Would Adrian want him there? Adrian's a big part of this team. Like, he's shareholder, man. Like, I don't. The way the team goes, right? It's good for him. Like, if the team goes well, then that's good for Adrian. So, if you're bringing someone in who you don't work well with, then how is the team going to get good?
I don't know. It's an interesting thought. Do you think Christian would really sign up for that? Do you think he'd sign up for that?
I don't know. I don't have any. So, like, I don't have any insight on, like, what Horner would do in this situation, because my feeling and understanding is that he wants, he would want more power. Like, he wouldn't want to be, jettisoned from a team that, like, he was from Red Bull, right? Like, he would want more control over his own future as well. I would see more team ownership in his future than I would, like, team principal outlook for himself. Now, maybe there's a hybrid sort of solution that they can all come to an agreement on. That's a possibility for sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there are other names that are, floating around out there. I mean, the Martin Whitmarsh thing, that I don't see that. There's no way.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, Andres Seidel's out there. That's a name that's been floating up a lot.
Yeah,
now,
heard that too.
Would he want to come back and be a team principal again, right? He was team principal at McLaren before he left to run the Sauber Audi team, but then left that and now hasn't been working anywhere. Like, would he come over and be a team principal? Would that work? Would those two things fit together well? That's the question. Like, that is a name that I've heard floated around a lot.
Right.
So we'll see. It's good get by the BBC for sure. There's no question.
No kidding. Really good.
That was a good get, but there's more moving parts to this than I think we know at this moment.
Okay. Now, I also want to say, just lastly here, we got a couple of questions before we wrap, and I'm just pulling them up. Michael wants to know, based on a few comments from a few of the racers, I think notably Fernando Alonso, the Las Vegas GP weekend circuit, is it the worst on the F1 calendar? And Tim, I'll add to this. Does it need to be changed in terms of when it's run?
I really enjoy this race. Mm-hmm. I think they need to move the time of the start time back again. Like, I still think that start time needs to be refined. I think it's still too late, because I think you still need to get that Eastern time zone audience. Like 11 p.m. start time is still, I think, too late. I think that needs to be moved back another 2 hours. Outside of that, Adam, I really enjoy the event. I like it. I mean, it is a good track for the sport. I think the what would make it even better is grip your pavement. That's where the problem lies when it comes to. I mean, we've had some really good races there, man. Like, the year one was okay. Year two, I thought I really enjoyed that race. I liked this race as well. I like the track. I like what the organizers have done. I mean, man, like, what people may not know is just how hard the organizers behind the scenes work to get that event up off the ground, and the stuff that they have to do, man. Like, I think they do a really, really, really good job to try and put on an event in Las Vegas. Just think about this for a second, Michael. They are closing down the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, okay, Tim, one more question here. When you, this is an interesting one. On the mental side, can Lewis and Ferrari recover from this? This is from King Fudge. What a name. Even if they have a somewhat competitive car, Lewis looks a little bit like Daniel Ricciardo in a McLaren.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see why. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I can see why you would say that. I think that I think as a driver, you definitely can recover from this. It takes a little bit of time, and you got to build your confidence back up in the team and all that kind of stuff. That can happen though, and also at the same time, just remember, winning cures everything.
That's right. That is true of every sport, my friend.
So as soon as you get that sprint win or you get that next Grand Prix victory, which is a possibility, he's going to have to work, really, really, really hard to get that. But as soon as that does happen, it cures everything.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully they start. It's looking like it's gonna be next year.
May not be this year, Adam, but
yeah.
you never know what happens next year.
And if it doesn't happen next year, then it's over anyway.
But that's what makes next year so exciting, right? Like we just don't know. We have just don't know. But,
well, Tim, I know you got to work the rest of the day, but I hope you get some sleep soon, my friend. And thank you so much for making time for us today. It was just really compelling stuff, and I have to tell you, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Amazing stuff, and we are hoping that you're all over Sports Center and that sort of thing over the next little bit, and we will see you at the end of the week for another show.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you taking the time for this.